Hey everybody, welcome to the Collective Brain Visual Podcast, I guess you could say. I'm your host Jay, and the thing we're asked the most is how do we edit the show each week? So the software I use is Reaper. Now Harry and Ken edited some of the episodes early on, the earlier seasons, but this is what I've always used. Right now we're in season 17 and we just recorded episode 197. So what I'm going to do is pull up episode 196, because what that does is it allows me to use all this bumper music, these things here. Those are the bumper songs, and then here's the end, a little collage of sound bites, and then we've got the intro here at the beginning. So that allows me to keep all of those without having to load them and change their volumes each week. It's a consistency. Once I set the volume, it's going to be the same throughout the whole season. So the 4 tracks that I use, I've got this first one which uses music, like this block here at the end. That's the closing music that the person brought that week. Track 2 is just for extra space if I need to add any sound effects, or sometimes when we do like Brain Theater, we'll have dialogue track, sound effects, music, or whatever, so I just have some room to play here. Track 3 I use for the bumper, like I said earlier. That just separates each of the podcast segments. And then track 4 is the dialogue track. Now the show usually runs, right around 55 minutes to an hour. So yeah, this one's about 54 minutes it looks like. So let's go ahead and get rid of the entire dialogue track. Because like I said, this is from episode 196. Okay, and then I just delete all of that. What I'm going to do real quick is save as 197. Okay, so let's get it all. Okay, so we have an empty dialogue track, and but we still have all the bumper music. We've got the intro at the front. We've got all the sound bites at the end. So we just need to insert the dialogue track for episode 197. So the first thing I do once we've recorded, and the recordings are usually between an hour and 15 minutes. So what I'll do is normalize it. That boosts the quiet parts, and it makes the louder parts, it turns those down. So you just have like a smoother dialogue track. So let's go ahead and insert the file from episode 197. Okay, so there it is, just a solid dialogue track. That's what we recorded. And you can see it's probably about an hour and 10 minutes. So that'll get trimmed down. It'll end up somewhere between the 55 and 60 minutes when I'm done editing. So then let's go back to the beginning. Now I build these intros at the beginning of the season, and it just stays the same throughout the season. The only thing that changes is the dialogue track that I insert. So let's take a look and see what this season's intro sounds like. So I'm just going to play the whole thing as it is right now.
You're listening to the Collective Brain Network.
And then there's the slow music. And then that's where our story starts. But let's take a look at the intro a little bit closer. So we've got the 4 things. This first one is some of the sound effects. Track 2 up here has more sound effects. Okay, so when you put those 2 together, that's the sound of the intro. And then I put the British computer lady.
You're listening to the Collective Brain Network.
So now we play all 3 of them together.
You're listening to the Collective Brain Network.
And there's the slow music that starts. Okay, so that is the intro that we have for this season. Now the dialogue track, let's just start.
Hey, when he comes back, well,
I want to do this for like 10 seasons. Okay, so that is just the beginning of the recording. I have my microphone on.
5 of us want to know.
And here we go. Blah, blah, blah. It's just us talking. So now I need to find the beginning of the story, which I believe is right here. All right, back when I was in grade... Okay, so we split the track and then just delete what we don't need. Okay, oh, and that's another thing. I can add as many tracks as I need, but I try to keep it clean and keep it just 4. So here's where the music starts. You can see the wave of the music. So the story I usually start just shortly after it.
You're listening to the Collective Brain Network.
All right, back when I was in grade school. All right, back when I was in grade school. Okay, so that's how lined up, but almost like a big parking lot, and that we used to call it the rock piles. And we get through the whole thing. Now, if a story is too short, I don't need this much music, what I can do, let's just say this story ends here. Call it the rock piles. Okay, we're going to split the track, slide that out of the way. So, almost like a big parking lot, and that we used to call it the rock piles. Okay, so if that was the case, what I would do is bring the second half of the music over here. We used to call it the rock piles. Okay, I think that's parking lot, and that we used to call it the rock piles. That's a good ending spot. Then I just trim this, and then when I slide it back up, it creates this crossfade. And if it's during a dialogue, which this one happens to be, you probably won't even notice that skip in the later years. But this one particular time, we had BB guns, and back behind my parents' house, see, that works for me. It's still there. It's like a big, and then this file is the main theme. It's called the rock piles. Slide this over here. And that we used to call it the rock piles. There you go. And so you can figure out the timing. If I wanted to a little more time, we used to call it the rock piles. I could do that, or if I want it like right after, used to call it the rock piles. So I think I want it just right about. Used to call it the rock piles. Okay, so that's how the intro is done. Now I need to find the spot where I come in and say, "Hey, welcome." That's where the city would keep these bid in them for around they part hacked. I mean, still going to be listener to the Collective Brain right here. Hello, listener. Okay, that's the beginning of the show. So I'm going to get rid of all that. Slide this over, because this shows the main theme fading out. Hello. So then I slide this over, and for some reason I always have to the Collective Brain Podcast, episode 197. I always have to cut that and boost the beginning just a little bit. So let's see if that's better. Hello, listener to the Collective Brain Podcast, episode 197. This is the season of the Zodiac, and this week is Virgo. I'm your host, Jay, and we held a contest over the winter break. Okay, so there's my little monologue at the beginning. Then when I introduce Kin, this is his song, his little sound bite. Oh, yeah! So I just need to find where I introduce him. How to sing. Come on in, Kin. Right there. So then I'll split that. Put that in. Okay. Come on in, Kin. Oh, yeah! Okay. Then this is Brad's walk-in music. Now, he was not on the show last week. That's why that's muted. So let's find where Brad comes in.
At the Universal Church of Wonder.
Okay, so he's in.
The most exciting my week was.
Could have been worse.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. And we have Brad. He's a part-time. He's a part-time pastor. Brad. He's a part-time. He's a part-time. Brad. Okay. So we'll start it there. Brad. He's a part-time. He's a part-time pastor at the Church of the Red. Okay, so we'll cut that out. We'll just have this start like this. And we have Brad. He's a part-time pastor at the Church of the Red Clam. So how's attendance lately, Brad?
Oh, we dissolved that church. It's not.
Okay, so then here's Jimmy's. Let's find him.
Most exciting.
The most experienced East Coast. Jimmy Jimoo, come on out. Split that. Put his music in. Jimoo, come on out.
I'm back, and I'm better than ever.
Hey. Okay, now when there are long pauses like this here, Fool's Day, April 1st. Okay. Is that your parrot?
Hi.
I can't stand it myself.
That's annoying.
So, April Fool's Day, April 1st. So, this whole thing is kind of slow to listen to, so what I'll do is I'll just edit that out. So, participate or enjoy April Fool's Day, April 1st. So, I'll cut it there, and I'll cut it right before his eventual answer. And we'll do that. It sounds like this. Enjoy April Fool's Day, April 1st.
That's annoying.
Did anyone see? Can't even tell there's a cut there. All right. Then, like I said, we've got the different segments. All right.
Yeah, maybe.
So what I'll normally do is just listen to the whole thing.
The day it was a snow day.
You know, and if there's anything like those long pauses I need to cut out, I'll do that. And then when I get to the
Cutting her some slack.
Yeah, maybe.
okay, so if that was the beginning of this clip, I would just move the theme song over.
Yeah, maybe.
What'd you say?
Yeah, hello, this is me.
Okay, so that's how that's done. Then I just go through the whole file like that. I put the new, bumper music in. Then I need to find the end of the show.
Jeep with the Jeep. No problem.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
What we're gonna have. Oh, all right. Thanks for listening. We'll see
Hey.
you later. Yeah,
Who's got the song?
I do. Make sure you. I was gonna say it's.
Hey.
We'll see you later.
Adios, smooch. That's what I say.
All right. And you've also got the story next. So that's the end of the actual show. The rest of this was just us talking afterwards. So that's gone. But there was a part there I would have edited
Yeah,
Eastern
boy.
Illinois, right? Over by Indiana.
Long enough.
37. Not going to even want to tell you what we're going to have. Oh, I will say this, though.
Uh-oh.
We're going to be discussing Libra, and there may be a Libra in our midst. Exactly. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you later. Yeah. And make sure you stick around. Okay.
I had a Blue Oyster Cult song.
That would have been so. All right.
Okay.
We can do that then if you want. All right.
Okay.
We'll see you later. So I could, depending if the show's running too long, I'd cut out all kinds of stuff.
I think we've gone on long enough.
Yep. In fact, I could just cut it right there.
Not really. I think we've gone on long enough.
We'll see you later. See? Just like that.
Adios, muchachos. Go Cards, go Blues.
Go Blues.
Okay, so I'm just going to take all this ending. Normally wouldn't be quite this far back. Say this is the song. This is the song I used last week. But we'll just... So what I usually do, I like where it kicks in right there. That's where I would... in the show. So as soon as we say goodbye, it would kick in with that.
That's what I say.
All right, so this is
I think we've gone on
this is
long
what
enough.
we would get. We'll see you later.
Adios, muchachos.
And if
Go
this is
Cards,
too
go
loud,
Blues.
Go
which it is.
Blues.
Right. That's what I say.
What I'll do is split that, and I can quiet this down. We'll say to 8.
Muchachos. Go Cards, go Blues.
Go Blues.
right. That's what I say.
All right. Then at the end, I'll throw in,
This has been a Metal X or production.
yep, this.
This has been a Metal X or production.
I usually put that when the
This has been a
song's
Metal
fading.
X or production.
And then we've got our sound bites.
Are we doing a nude segment? Is that what you said?
In fact, we'll put that beep there.
Are we doing a
Kinda
nude
separates it.
segment? Is that what you said?
We can.
That thing is full of malarkey.
I'd sure like to use your finger.
So what I do, most of those will stay from episode to episode. But if I find something funny during the episode, let's say...
It's the first thing that goes. It's the problem when you get old, you know.
Yeah, so what's
He's
this?
got a little chair there and a little...
Yep, that's it.
Come on.
We'll do that. Come on.
Come on. I'm not paying you to talk, Phil.
Actually, let's do that one. So I can cut that out and just copy it. Then I can heal the splits. That puts this... Okay. Anyway, so I've got this
I'm not paying you to talk, Phil.
soundbite now. Now I'll just throw it at the end of the show like this. And then after I've got all... When I get to the end of the show, then I've got these extra little clips. I'll either tack them on at the end or replace some of the other ones. Like this one looks about this size.
I was like, oh!
Okay, let's get rid of that one and move this one in instead.
I'm not paying you to talk, Phil.
All right.
I like pie
So that's how
hole.
I do it. But I leave a lot of those, and this is how we end it. All right, then. Come back. And that's it. Then, so once I've made it through the whole file like that, then you do something in Reaper that's called rendering, and it takes all the tracks and however you have it mixed, and it creates one audio file. You can do it as a WAV or an MP3. I usually just do MP3. And then that is the final audio file for the show. Then I go in and edit the ID tags. That's where it'll tell you, the info, the Collective Brain episode 197, and it's got the clip art or the little thumbnail for the MP3. And then that is the final show file. And then that's the one that gets that gets uploaded to the website and then passed on to iTunes and wherever else. I don't know where all the show is, but anyway, that is how an episode is edited. And it usually takes, I don't know, doing this method, with all the kind of the template method where I use the previous show and just take out the dialogue, replace the dialogue track. A 1 hour podcast may take, 2 hours to edit now, something like that. Because I do have to listen to the entire show, so there's 1 hour, and then I'd say probably an hour of editing, because sometimes I have to replace bumper music. If we're doing a new segment, I'll have to put that in, trim it down, get its volume correct. Then every week we replace the ending music, so I've got to do that. So anyway, that is it. Thanks for watching. Come back and watch again when Jimmy does his first boxing video. We see exactly what goes into a box of macaroni and cheese. Later. All right, then. Come back.